much for being here at the 2021 Farm Progress Show, what I would really refer to as the Disney World of agriculture. It's the nation's largest outdoor farm event, a gathering of producers, the ag industry, commodity groups, and really one thing that is pivotal to our success in agriculture in this state, in this country, and that is our youth that are interested in agriculture. Today we're focusing on a national public health emergency that's present across the country. It's present in this state of Illinois, and specifically it's present in our rural areas. And that is farm stress and farmer mental health. With farming comes unpredictable challenges, from Mother Nature to equipment failures, the adoption of new technologies, financial management, and everyone is all too aware of the 24/7 planting and harvest season that is experienced by farmers. Farmers are stewards of their livestock, they're stewards of crops, but many times they don't take the time to care for themselves. This leads to high levels of anxiety, depression, sometimes substance abuse, and all too often suicide. Under the leadership of Governor J.B. Pritzker, Illinois is uniquely positioned with farmer mental health initiatives that are already in place. Today, he will be sharing how this existing infrastructure will be expanded in 2021 and into the future. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you someone who is a true leader of agriculture in the state of Illinois, someone who understands that it's our #1 industry with an average almost $20 billion annual economic impact on the state. He's someone that as soon as this pandemic started, he put out an executive order which listed agriculture as essential in the state of Illinois, which was extremely key. He's also someone that at the very beginning of his administration that worked to put out an infrastructure bill that was the largest in the United States that included broadband, and included broadband so that kids in rural areas had the same opportunities that kids in urban areas have. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, and good morning to everyone. It is truly a great day to connect with farmers from across the globe and check out the latest ag technology and equipment right here at the Farm Progress Show. No industry merges tradition and innovation quite like this one, pushing the boundaries of the latest equipment, crop treatments, sustainability, precision farming, and livestock genetics, and doing so while ensuring sustenance, the most basic building block of community. That's no small responsibility to shoulder. Along with the other responsibilities of life in rural Illinois. These days, there are even more challenges, not the least of which is the COVID-19 pandemic, during which this industry is kept right on going so that the rest of the world could stay nourished. The pressures have been intense. The need to tailor mental health resources to better support farmers and farm families has become all the more clear. Today, I'm very proud to announce new investments to increase farmer mental health resource access statewide, and do so hand in hand with the Illinois Department of Agriculture Director Jerry Costello and our partners in this effort. That includes, very importantly, Senator Scott Bennett, Dr. Shelley Nichols Richardson, Director of U of I's Illinois Extension Program, if you don't already know her, Dr. Jerry Cruz, the Dean and Provost of Southern Illinois University School of Medicine, and of course our Decatur Mayor, Julie Moore-Wolf. As governor, I've sought to make Illinois a state where mental health care should not and cannot be treated as a secondary health care service. That's why in 2019, right when I took office, I started working with Senator Scott Bennett to turn the Family Farm Resource Initiative into law. We did so while also significantly increasing funding for mental health services and for addiction treatment. These are unprecedented increases in recent state history. Since its founding, the Family Farm Resource Initiative has proven a crucial resource in its 6 pilot counties, providing a mental health hotline alongside outreach, education, and training for partners on the ground in the community. Thanks to federal funding and increased support from my latest budget, we're expanding FFRI from 6 counties to all 102 counties. Not only that, but we'll do so while making it accessible in even more ways, adding text and email options to the call center helpline, increasing our professional behavioral health service partners, funding agriculture literacy training for providers, and offering expanded mental health first aid trainings so that neighbors can help neighbors. This funding will also expand the work of Illinois Extension to address farm stress, exploring new collaborations and identifying programming, resource, and service gaps to ensure that our families are getting the care they deserve. These efforts build on my efforts to increase the structural, economic, and health supports for the industry that keeps everyone else afloat. That includes adding agriculture education to fulfill course requirements for admission to state universities, dedicating more than $400 million to expand high-speed broadband internet connections to every Illinois community, providing $150 million to fill healthcare gaps in under-resourced communities, including family farms in our new small business grant programs to help rural communities recover, and requiring health insurance to cover substance abuse and mental health treatment. Make no mistake, our farm communities are the toughest of the tough. And when it comes to mental health, asking for help is sometimes the bravest thing that you can do. Mental health care is health care. And in Illinois, we're making it easier to access help every step of the way in every community. And that's how we shape a state where all of our people can thrive. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to our Director of Agriculture, Jerry Costello. Jerry?
Thank you very much, Governor. And it is now my pleasure to introduce to you someone who, especially in this area, really needs no introduction, Senator Scott Bennett. And if I can say just a few words really quickly, as chair of the House Ag Committee for about 5.5 years, Scott and I worked very closely together. And this family resource initiative really wouldn't have gotten off of the ground without Scott's help in his work. So he actually created this pilot program, and under his legislative leadership, it has gotten to the point that we are at today. So again, my true pleasure to turn over the podium to Senator Scott Bennett, Ag Chair in the Senate.
Thank you, Director. I'm Scott Bennett, the state senator from the district just over, which includes Champaign-Urbana, where 36 years ago, this next month, we had the first ever Farm Aid in Champaign, Illinois, the Memorial Stadium. Then it was the cause célèbre, I guess. Everybody wanted to, all the celebrities wanted to come out and voice their support for family farms and the struggles they were going through in rural areas. And I know as a little kid, I felt a lot of pride in that people knew what we were going through and cared. Years have gone by, and I've now had the opportunity to be in a different position, but I see family farmers going through the same issues. I myself am I'm not a farmer, but I am a member of a 5th generation family farm, and I see how every year it only gets tougher, where it seems like there's more and more distractions out there where there's less attention paid to that help. I've got a lot of credit for what's taken on, for what's come through this today, but obviously the team we put together, and I see a lot of you out there, are really what's responsible for this. But when I think about growing up in a small town, when I think about what's great about rural America, it's that everybody needs help at some days where everybody brought their equipment together and got things done, or those sad tales where maybe it even passes away before harvest and all the neighbors drop everything they're doing to go and finish the for them. That's what's special about rural America. And I think this is really great to see. Here's another way we can help. I see Holly Spangler out there. Holly, your articles were some of the first that I read, really shining a light on the problem with the mental health crises in rural America. And with that, you gave a lot of people awareness, and you got people talking. I got to talking to people in my church and my family, and saw there was a real need for this as well. And I want to give some credit to Andy Minar, who's sitting over here. Andy now is with the governor's staff, was a great senator for this area over to Bunker Hill. Andy then, before he was in the governor's staff, was the chair of the Appropriations Committee. It is hard to get new dollars out of Springfield. But to do it, you got to go through appropriations. And I know when I had some conversations sitting down with Andy, he represented a lot of ag interests as well, saying, how do we do this? And came up with this pilot program where we said, let's start small. Let's figure out a team that we can put together something to do something great when funding is available. And that's how it all came together. So with that, I want to introduce a very vital member of that team, Dr. Jerry Cruz with SIU Medicine. He's the dean and the provost and an invaluable partner at putting this together. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Senator Bennett. It's my pleasure to be here today. Actually, my mom and dad grew up on farms. My wife grew up on a farm. I'm from a town of 1,700 people right on the edge. And my 90-year-old father-in-law still farms 250 of his 1,200 acres himself. I actually have seen the issues that we're talking about today up close and personal. From a town of 1,700 people right on the edge. And my 90-year-old father-in-law still farms 250 of his 1,200 acres himself. I actually have seen the issues that we're talking about today up close and personal. The SIU School of Medicine is grateful to serve the farm families of Illinois. 2 years ago, our Center for Rural Health and Social Service Development implemented the Farm Family Resource Initiative with a 6-county pilot, as you heard. They built a network of support, resources, research, and education to meet the physical and, more pointedly, the mental health needs of the farm families of Illinois, and just to keep the well-being where it should be. It was ably directed by Karen Stallman, who's here today as well. My thanks today to Governor Pritzker and to Director Costello for partnering with us for all these things, and my congratulations for his ongoing commitment to families, rural residents, and to downstate Illinois. And my special thanks to Senator Scott Bennett for his vision for this program and his continued support. And we really appreciate the increased funding from the state legislature. And also thanks to the University of Illinois Extension, who has been our partners for the 2-year pilot, a great partner, and we look forward to continue that work. So the increase in funding does allow us to expand the Farm Family Resource Initiative from 6 counties to 102 to the entire state of Illinois, statewide. So the things that we have done already, our helpline, our telehealth counseling, we'll do even to a greater degree, text message and email options. We'll increase the program just as Governor Pritzker outlined in his talk, and our research will flourish, there's no doubt about it. So at the School of Medicine, we're very proud of our Center for Rural Health and Social Service Development, and we are proud to partner with everybody here today to meet our mission of social accountability to the people of rural Illinois and all that lies therein. The farms, the towns, the small cities, the small urban area that make up the great downstate Illinois. So I appreciate that greatly, and now I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Shelley Nichols Richardson, Associate Dean and Director of Illinois Extension. Shelley.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I just want to say thank you for including Illinois Extension in today's presentation and announcement about the grant. We are absolutely delighted to be a partner with everyone and really to provide service and programs to each and every one of you across all of our state. I also want to add my gratitude to Governor Pritzker and Senator Bennett. This is so visionary. A couple or 3 years ago, we were having some conversations with our Extension State Advisory Committee, and one of the topics that came up was the topic of mental health. What were we going to do as an Extension service about the issues for youth and for families and for communities, and especially our agricultural producers? And so what that led us to was to put some resources into this topic. Lo and behold, that investment was really essential for us to be part of this partnership today. And so again, the vision that our governor and the vision that Senator Bennett had to make sure that this topic, this important topic, came to the forefront so that people would pay attention to it. Because we know that our farmers are stoics and they don't necessarily want to reach out for help. And this gives that outlet and that avenue for people to reach out and to find the resources and the services that they need to help them with their farms, with their families, with their communities. I also want to thank Director Costello for his leadership and all of the Illinois Department of Agriculture. We have actually had a wonderful relationship during this partnership and building this together. And so again, the leadership that Director Costello and his team has shown for this topic again. And again, I want to thank Dr. Cruz and the SIU team and the Farm Family Resource Initiative and everyone that's involved with that. So Karen, thank you for all of your service and others who have been implementing the programs. It's one thing to have a vision, and that's very important. It's another thing to implement something. And so that implementation takes a lot of work, a lot of team members, a lot of people being willing to identify something of importance and then take action on that. Specifically want to express gratitude to Josie Rudolphi and Courtney Cuthbertson, two of our Extension faculty specialists who have been instrumental in helping with the programs. They're sitting here in the back, and I hope that you will take time to get out and see them. Josie will be at the Agribility booth, and Courtney will be at the Health and Safety booth, which I think is booth 1125. Again, they have been taking leadership and providing management for those services along with our partners at SIU and across the state. So thank you again. Thank you for being here for this announcement. We are really pleased that the money that has come to the state, again through IDOA effort, is being partnered and being leveraged with our funding from USDA. We have a $7.4 million grant that helps the North Central region with mental health, emotional, and social needs and services. And so again, it's really important to bring all of us together to focus on the concerns that people have and how we can improve lives and livelihood for our agricultural producers. With that, thank you very much on behalf of Illinois Extension and partners, and I want to reintroduce Governor Pritzker, who will take a bit of time for question and answers. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Yes, sir. There's no doubt that there is a dearth of, let's start with inpatient care, which is greatly needed, especially with substance abuse and sometimes with mental health. And in fact, I've been in meetings over the last couple of weeks looking at how we can bring those services to communities, because as you know, that's a significantly greater investment to actually have inpatient care in these communities. But there are folks willing to offer it, and we'd like to figure out how we can put together the dollars, federal, state, and local, so that we can open up more of those facilities. So that's one answer to your question. A second is, of course, how do we get more doctors, more psychiatrists, more psychologists, and others who can care for and treat people in even outpatient circumstances. And agreed, we've got to make sure that we're providing incentives for people to move to clinics in rural areas across the state so that it's not a 3-hour drive to get to the kind of doctor that you really need. But I will say that in the interim, and one of the things that the pandemic has really called attention to is telehealth. And it may not be perfect, and I don't disagree that it's, in-person treatment can often be better than telehealth. But I have to say, when it comes to behavioral health, that is one area where telehealth can be vitally important, especially when you don't have enough inpatient or outpatient treatment that's readily available. If we can provide those clinics, those telehealth clinics, and SIU has been a leader in that, as well as our other major hospital institutions. Those are, not too far away from any one person across the state, where you can reach a telehealth clinic and access any expert across the globe, really. But of course, we've created it within Illinois. But we can connect with any kind of specialist that you may need. And telehealth is a one step toward getting what you're describing, which is making sure people have treatment closest to home. Brendan.
What were some of the key takeaways from the pilot program, 6 counties, and what led that to this?
Sure. I'd like to call up Dr. Cruz if I may. Do you hear the question?
Yeah,
okay, good.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway from the Farm Family Resource Initiative pilot has already been said. It's what we can do with telehealth now. And I will tell you, Governor Pritzker's executive orders opened the world of public health, without question. Now, in our Department of Psychiatry, we do more than 50% of our visits by telehealth, and the acceptance is great. People don't have to go anywhere. But because of the executive orders, they can use a cell phone and do FaceTime and things like that. It's just, it's just incredible. The other things, the hotline has been utilized. It's been very, very popular. And just simple things like emailing and texting and connecting to the communities are the things that we've done with that pilot. In the introductory remarks, you heard all of the other things that we plan with the expansion. So we have a great foundation now, and I'm so excited for the future of it. So thanks.
Thank you. And just to remind you, we beyond the executive orders, we actually passed a law this last spring in the legislature, and I signed it to make those executive orders on telehealth permanent in the state of Illinois, so people can access doctors of all sorts through telehealth, and that they can get reimbursed for the work that they're doing, even over FaceTime or some other telecommunications.
Governor,
yes, sir.
On telehealth, one of the issues you hear is that lack of broadband, that lack of high-speed internet, especially in rural South Illinois. Can you talk a little bit about how you can address that to make sure that people who need the services here can actually access it?
I'm glad you asked. So the question was about broadband and what we're doing here in the state of Illinois to expand access to it in every community. So when I came into office, one of the big pieces that I wanted to focus on within our infrastructure bill was broadband. So we, out of a $45 billion infrastructure bill, and that's about our roads and our bridges and our schools and so many other things, we set aside $420 million, which is a matching grant program that will yield more than $1 billion of investment in expanding broadband to every community in the state of Illinois. So we've identified the areas where communities don't have high-speed internet, and then tried to find the local partner or regional partner that will come get the grants with us, put their own dollars in, and make sure that everybody in the community can get connected. I am very excited about this. The focus, and we've already put $100 million out there of the $420 million. By 2024, we intend to have every rural community across the state of Illinois. And, by the way, the areas of urban communities that don't have high-speed internet covered with high-speed. Because you can't, not only is it important for kids, and I heard somebody mention children when we're talking about broadband, but you can't build a business. I mean, you can't farm really without ag tech these days, and not having a high-speed connection means you're going to be behind somebody else. So I want everybody in the state, small businesses, our farmers, our small farms, as well as our kids and every community, to be able to connect at the very high speeds that they ought to be able to. Yeah. I'm hopeful that there's a clean energy bill by the end of the special session But, you know, as you know, there's still negotiating going on. I know I've spoken with some of my folks that are in Springfield now, talking to the legislative representatives to try to bridge the gaps. You know, we're, as I've said for some time, we're awfully close, but everybody needs to give a little bit in order for us to get the right kind of compromise. So I'm hopeful, but I don't know what odds to put on it at this point. All I know is that everybody's been working really all night into the morning and will be continuing to do so until we're able either to reach an agreement or not. But I'm intending that we'll be able to reach an agreement at this point. Yes, ma'am. Youth mental health. So if you don't mind, I'll ask to come up and Shelley, I think the question was, what are we doing to focus on youth mental health?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. We are working through Extension 4-H programming to have mental health first aid, to have trained individuals across the state so that they can deliver that program for youth who may be in need of assistance. There are also our 4-H membership and our leaders who are working with youth clubs to be sure to provide information about the value of each individual, and so working through our 4-H groups through the training of the programs, and then addressing mental health concerns and just you know what it means to grow up in this day and age, to have those conversations with adult leaders and teen leaders and peer mentors who can help through concerns and issues. So if you have additional questions, I encourage you to talk with Courtney Cuthbertson. So thank you. So through our 4-H programs, which again, 4-H is represented in all 102 of our counties, so not only in the rural areas but urban areas as well, people can tap into the 4-H resources. And so connecting with our Illinois Extension offices out in each of our units, so we have 27 units across the state. Connecting with each of those units will get you to the 4-H leaders and 4-H membership and to those programs. So I would encourage everyone to connect with Extension, with our 4-H educators and our program coordinators to find those resources and find the programs that are available to them. Thank you.
Governor.
Yes, sir.
Some slowdown in the number of hospitalizations and ICU usage over the last few days. Not sure if it's still too early, but at this point, are you thinking that we may be nearing the peak of the current surge?
I've been asked this in the last 48 hours. As you can imagine, we all watch the numbers very closely, and when they start to flatten out, that's always good news, always good news. The fact is that I think we've all lived through this long enough now to not jump the gun and say, oh gosh, it's flattened out, everything is so much better. We've got to really see the curve heading downward. But I'm very hopeful of that. But I would also encourage you to take a look at hospitalization numbers over the last week. They have been going up, though a smaller number each day. And these are, when I say hospitalizations, I want to be clear what I'm talking about. New people entering the hospital. Because you can have people that have been in the hospital for some time leaving the hospital. That doesn't tell you very much about where the disease is, you know, how rampant it is. But new hospitalizations just recently started flattening, which is great. And again, I'm very hopeful, and I pray for it every day that we can head back down and fewer mitigations and everybody getting back to a more normal way of life. But I do want to encourage anybody that's not been vaccinated. Now is the time to do it. It's still, this variant is more dangerous than any other that we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I just want to make sure that people, I know people who have not been vaccinated who have died, and I know people who have been vaccinated and they got COVID-19. By the way, the people who do get COVID-19, and they got sick for a day or two at home, and then they recovered at home and not needing to go to a hospital and not having their life threatened by COVID-19. And then, of course, people who have been vaccinated who haven't gotten COVID-19. I can just tell you, you know, getting the vaccine is really the safest thing you can do for yourself. So, again, I'll watch numbers like you will. You'll ask me that question again soon, no doubt, and I hope we'll be able to soon, no doubt, and I hope we'll be able to say, yeah, things are headed in the right direction. Thank you.